Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay, the #1 source for competitive Legends of Runeterra news and information. If you're looking for the best decks to play right now, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Master Runeterra or in our Discord. And if you want to take the next step in leveling up your game, check out our Runeterra team on Patreon, where we do weekly learning calls and one-on-one coaching. Now strap in and grab yourself some Poro snacks, because we are about to start Mastering Runeterra.
Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay. We got a great show for you guys today. We have been gone for a while. It's been holidays and people getting sick. And I don't even honestly remember when the last one of these we recorded went live. Yeah, like 3-4 weeks. It's been a while. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to catch up on. I'll just jump into it. Actually, you know what? Sorry. Before I do, I should say, as always, I want to thank all of our subscribers and our patrons, everyone subscribed to the website. Thank you guys so much for supporting us all through 2022 and all the way back into 2021 as well. We were just talking about how our 2-year anniversary is actually coming up. This is episode number 92 of the podcast. We're coming up on 100 episodes. And in April, it's going to be 2 years since we launched the podcast, which we were just talking about. Both seems like a very short amount of time. And also, how has it not been a lot longer? Because so much has happened in that amount of time. But cool milestones that are coming up. So thank you everyone that supported us. Seriously, we could not do this without you guys. It means the world. You know, we get all kinds of messages in Discord and tweets, people dropping in Maj's stream, always showing us the love and from all our subscribers and everything. And so seriously, thank you so much for all of your help, everyone that's helped us throughout the years. And quick shout out to our team also that does so much work behind the scenes. Thank you guys. Okay, so let's get into it. First thing, we have pretty sure we're gonna have a special guest on next week. Looks like we're gonna have the one and only Ruben Zhu coming on to talk about his / Riot's thinking when it comes to competitive. I don't think he's gonna actually announce anything that's actually coming, but I think it's more just a speaking of the general philosophy. And I don't know what they're thinking about competitive. I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So I just thought I'd let you guys know to make sure you tune in to next week's video.
We've been trying to get that going for a while.
Cool. I, for one, am for a while. I'm excited also just to see what this year is going to bring. What's everything going to look like? Ruben obviously took over competitive like somewhere around midway through last year. Had that dumped on him. Along with all of his other duties. So interested to see, what kind of changes come from it. Well, obviously they made that Reddit post not long ago asking everyone for their feedback. We all gave a bunch of feedback and everything. So, as someone who loves competitive, I'm very excited to learn more and to see what this year brings. And speaking of changes, we just had a hot fix today. It just dropped. Which I don't think any of us were expecting. Everyone thought maybe next week or the week after at the earliest. So what were the changes, by the way? I've played about 0 LOR since Worlds, just FYI. So I'm excited to be like, oh, hey, Seasonals format, I get to play again. I'm hyped. I think I'm still Platinum. I'm pretty sure that's how little I played.
Let me break it down. Let me go back to before the hotfix. Let's talk a little bit about what the format looked like before. It was basically a 2-deck format with like Aatrox Bane, and Seraphine Bandlebar. You could play other things like Red Gwen. You could play the Gwizzler. You could play like a bunch of random stuff that was just less good. So like in my opinion, Aatrox Bane was tier 0. Seraphine Bar was very, very tippy top of tier 1, and then there was everything else. And there was some like a couple decks that were showing a lot of strength that people weren't really on as much. Like I think Rumble Vein was secretly like really, really, really good. And I didn't tell people that because I didn't want anybody to play it because I hate that deck. So yeah, I think like Rumble Vein was really good. And then we get to the patch. And it's really nice that we got one because, like I said, 2-deck format, not exactly very fun. And the changes were Aegis, the tough equipment, instead of giving +1/+1, now gives +0/+1 in tough. Bar goes from 6 mana to 7 mana now. Vayne loses 1 point of health on both of her forms. World Ender's starting cost is 16 instead of 13. And Risen Reckoner, the 4/3 overwhelm that makes your things can't block, it grants can't block. It loses a point of power and health on both sides. So it's like a 3/2 and then a 5/2, I believe, which is really nice because I was very much worried that like they were gonna hit Bar and Aatrox and Red Gwen was gonna be the best deck again, and I was like, no. So it's nice that they're give a little tappy tap to that deck too. I think that's it. I think those are the only changes. This is a hot fix. So buffs come later.
I believe so.
Which is gonna be after seasonals. A more like comprehensive balance is gonna come after seasonals.
Which I'm a little confused about because I thought after seasonals was the rotation.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, I thought February 1st because they said the first patch or whatever of like next year, which would be this one after seasonals.
Yep. I don't know.
So I was expecting rotation to happen end of the month, like after seasonals.
Maybe they were like,
but I mean I guess I don't know.
Maybe they were like, let's not put too much time and thought into the balance patch because we're just gonna rotate things anyway. So like,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to find out. I don't know if we'll be allowed to ask Ruben about that tomorrow or next week, but yeah, I'm not mistaken though, right? Like the patch was supposed to happen, like they did say, or the rotation was supposed to happen, like first patch or whatever.
Yeah, it's 2022. In my head, I'm thinking February for some reason, but I have actually no evidence to back that up. Like early February.
Yeah, well, I thought February too. I thought it was just the beginning of February. Exactly, because seasonals. When the seasonals?
Like 28th.
Is it 20? So seasonals is 28, 29.
So it will be beginning of February.
Yeah. So then the patch would come in. Would be February 1st is the Wednesday.
Perhaps that's why we didn't get a balance patch.
That's why I thought it was that patch is when.
It could be. Like perhaps that's why we didn't get a balance patch. We got a hotfix instead. Is because they're like, why spend all this effort on a balance patch when we're gonna when we have to do a more comprehensive one, when we rotate things. So that could make sense. But anyway, this is so nice. This hotfix is a goddamn blessing. Ladder was really tough. Okay, no, that's not true. Ladder was really easy. It was play Vayne Aatrox or Seraphine Bando Bar or lose LP is kind of what it felt like. And it was I was sitting at like 0 LP for like a week or two or something, and I kept telling my chat, I was like, guys, like I could just go play one of the good decks and just shoot up LP like the second I wanted to. I just really don't want to. And of course they're memeing me and everything. They're like, yeah, right, whatever. And then like for 3 or 4 days I decide like, okay, I'm just gonna play Aatrox, Vayne, and Seraphine Bando Bar, and then I had 500 LP after like 3 days. I'm back down now because I keep playing Rise, but back down to like 300.
Oh yeah, no, sure.
Yep. And so it's just so nice because it's so brutal to be like, okay, time to play ranked. Which one of the 2 decks am I going to play today? That's not very fun. And then like every single seasonals lineup would have been Aatrox, Seraphine Bar, 3rd deck. Like every single really good one, in my opinion. And that would have really sucked. So happy to see things get changed. My initial gut reaction is that none of the decks are taken out of tier 1. Like I think Aatrox Vayne goes from tier 0 to tier 1. I think Seraphine Bando Bar goes from all the Seraphine Bar decks go from top of tier 1 to mid tier 1, maybe bottom of tier 1. And some of the versions probably get dropped down to tier 1.5. But it depends on how the meta shakes up. Red Gwen's still good though.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if anything else got touched. I guess those are the main decks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because Vayne decks, like it losing a point of toughness doesn't seem like a huge deal.
It's nice.
I mean,
though.
It matters.
Like a 3/4 on 3 is like,
right.
Yeah,
you can kill it a lot easier.
Sump Fumes, Aftershock, that's the big one. Just the 3-4-on-3's Zig stats, and like it's just I remember seeing that and I was like, what? No, like this is just so big. A 3-4-on-3 is like unkillable. Yeah, it's Sentry Flock or bust is kind of what it feels like. Or you're just gonna spend a bunch more mana than they spent to kill it. Like you're gonna spend 5-6 mana, and then they're gonna have a free attack in their hand whenever they want it. And that's brutal. So what I expect to happen from this meta is I expect Jinx to be on the rise. Me and everyone else, right? Like I held the opinion that Jinx was the third best champion in the game, below Aatrox and Vayne, for the entirety of this patch, and I think she's still probably the third best champion. I think it's still probably like Aatrox, Vayne, and then Jinx. Maybe not, but we'll see. And yeah, I expect it to be really good. So I expect to see a lot.
What are the top like Jinx stacks right now?
Lulu Jinx is probably the best one, and then there's like discard aggro, and then there's like Echo Jinx, and I think we'll see some more stuff kind of come out. It's been kind of gated by like the Vayne Aatrox decks. Like there's only so much you can do. But now that the Vayne Aatrox decks are slower and they don't pivot to World Ender as fast, and Vayne like can't get a free block, I think we're gonna see more Jinx decks pop up. We're gonna see decks looking to counter the Jinx decks, right? FTR is going to be an all-time high, I think, over the next like couple days. So be ready for that. And as far as long term, I honestly think not much is going to change, but it's going to take the like big disparity between most of the decks and the top decks, and it's going to bring it down to here. That's my opinion, which is good. That's what we want. This patch was not looking to like cut anything out of the meta. It was just allowing a lot of other things to breathe, which is pretty perfect for a tournament patch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Bar to 7 is an interesting one. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty. There's a lot of times where you gotta slam that bar on 6, and then you pull yourself back into the game. And I wonder now if you have to do it on 7, and then you can't start pulling yourself back into the game until 8. Like I think that's going to be too slow in a lot of situations.
It feels worse.
But the rest of the deck is also extremely powerful, right?
Yeah. It definitely feels worse.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to see like what kind of works with Bar and what doesn't. A lot of that's going to be like the meta, right? If everybody just starts going wide and playing Jinx, then like the Targon one or Shadow Owls one might be the way to go. Like I've had a ton of success with the Targon Bar version against aggro decks, because you have a Felios, and like the Targon version gets on board just as good, if not better, than the Bandle one, because you have more 1-drops. Usually you don't have Conchologist, but you have like Dust Petal Dude, Zonai Urchin, you play Acorn, right? That kind of stuff. You have your Crescendums, things like that. And then if you ever drop to like 7, you just like Severum Infernum something and you're back in the game. And that's really nice. So we're going to have to see. But yeah, Bar on 7, like it's a hit, man. Let me tell you, it sucks. It feels bad. Now, I do think the nerf was good, but playing the Bar deck and you look at your Bar and you're on your turn 6, you just like don't do much. And that's what turn 5 used to be, is like you would just sit there and you'd be like, well, I can't really do much this turn. I just want to get to turn 6 where I can play my Bar. And now that's turn 5 and 6. You're just like, well, I can't really do much. I really just want to play my Bar. Feels bad.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where the Bar decks shake out, because I don't know. It's hard for me to see them really being a powerhouse again with Bar on 7. I think I can see them being good, sure. But even that sometimes might be a bit of a stretch, just kind of depending, like you say, kind of what the rest of the meta sort of looks like. And then also just all the different versions having like, slightly different strengths and weaknesses is also really interesting. But as someone who loves playing Seraphine Bar, I hope it's still around.
It will be.
Gonna be interesting days. This is you think it's still around for sure. I mean, we're gonna have rotation, and then if it sticks around, you got to think that the format's going to slow down quite a bit, and that would make it better if it doesn't get rotated. Also,
another thing I expect to pop up is the other mid-range decks that Aatrox Vayne kind of kept out. Kaisa, Auction Varus. Like these kind of decks, I think get better, and they also have like really strong FTR matchups because they get to play. They have like an incredibly strong like tempo game plan, with counterspell backup, which is just like checkmate against these slow control decks with like a 12 mana win condition. So I think that's really good. I think if there's a good Ionia deck, it's gonna pop up. But currently I don't think there is one. I'm looking. I'm like racking my brain. I'm like, there has to be one here. But yeah, I can't really find one. Ionia's tools got hit pretty hard, and with like free attacks being kind of the name of the game right now, it makes it really tough for Ionia to keep up. It's either like the decks are either playing free attacks, right? Red Gwen, Kaisa, Vayne, Aatrox, like the Gwizzler deck, the Ionia Black Flame Gwen deck, like all these decks are based around free attacks, and Ionia struggles against free attacks. Or they go the other way and they lean into Bar, where they get to cheat on mana, and cheating on mana is also really good against counter spells. So Ionia is sitting there with Unworthy Soul, which I think is one of the best cards in the game right now, and Deny, which is also really strong at the moment, and just can't put a deck together.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising, right? Like, we're talking about the name of the game being free attacks or cheating on mana. Like, both of these things are just breaking the rules of the game in some way, and that typically is just always the strongest thing you can do, and like it's hard to combat that, right? Like they're doing things that you can't keep up with. It's unfair, and that's the whole reason it's so good. And I, for one, would kind of like to see those things rotate out, because I miss the olden days, to me anyway, of Runeterra, when things were a lot slower. Asol was like actually a champion you could play like all the time, wasn't a big deal. 10 mana dragon was cool. Play with Zoe. And like 7 drops and 8 drops and just big duders. They weren't even particularly great, but like you could play them.
BBG Runeterra.
What?
BBG Runeterra.
Yeah, that's right. The way BBG intended for all of us to play it.
I think Tribeam versus Shen Fiora was peak Runeterra.
Yes. I mean, that's the same. That was the same time.
Yeah.
That was right around that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing powerful things.
And yeah, I agree.
But I
do too. But that's why I like when we have 2 formats now, because I want to play Eternal and have the free attacks and the the bar decks and the cheap stuff and some combo things in there. That'd be great. I'd love that. And then also I'd like to play some standard and have it be like slower. Do you say Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like old school Lee. Yeah. And then be able to play standard and have it slow down, and like have my units live and actually matter. That's one thing. Hey, like just like a normal unit just like doesn't matter in the game anymore. Like a what's the 4 mana 5/4 that gets lifesteal for a turn?
Oh, like Solaris Sunbreaker or whatever.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like remember when that card was just really good?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, whoa, he drew it. Oh, darn it. And now the card's a joke. They're like, what? You can't play that card. That's absurd. Does it do a million things? And so yeah, I'd like it to go back to when like just units even mattered, really. Or like you play like a 7 mana 7/7. It was like, whoa, how do I deal with that? Like that's a problem.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore, does it?
It's a joke. It's just like a giant unit these days is like absurd. If it doesn't have like Overwhelm plus Spell Shield or something, it's like, why is it even there? Like it has to have like Elusive or Overwhelm. That's been a thing for a while, but like I'm looking forward to rotation. Long story short. Okay, let's see. Anything else you want to touch on about thoughts on like the format where it's headed? We'll probably have more ideas next week.
We'll have to wait. We haven't had a day yet. It hasn't been a day yet.
Yeah. What are you going to try climbing with first? What do you think is going to be good first? Where are you going to start?
So right after I played, I had a really bad headache last night, and I was like, I want to play a stupid dumb deck. So I played Rumble Vayne and just like clobbered some people. That deck's still really good because it like didn't actually lose anything because you don't care if Vayne dies. And I do want to find a really good Shadow Isles list that's not Field Rush. I think it's there. I want a Shadow Isles controlling list. I want to play a bunch of Quietus. I want to play Bilefeast. I want to be good into Lulu Jinx. That's what I'm looking for. And I haven't quite found it yet, but it's been like, 4 hours, so
Jace?
Give me some time. Maybe.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So we'll definitely talk more about that next week after we talk to Ruben. So I also wanted to do some perusing down memory lane of saying goodbye to 2022, because like, first off, I forget a lot of the stuff that happened in 2022 because I don't know, it seems like it lasted for forever or something. But like the thing that keeps like popping back in my brain is the beginning of 2022. We were all sitting around after the first Worlds. They're like, hey, give us 6 months. And in the beginning of next year, 2022, we'll, tell you guys what's happening for competitive and stuff. And we were like, sweet. Yeah, can't wait. I bet they're hard at work, grinding away. And then they came out and we're like, okay, we're cutting all the seasonal stuff. And, well, not all of it, but we're cutting coverage. And we're turning ship towards PvE to Path of Champions. And like, that was a dark time. I thought the game was kind of just dead or deadish, or at least the way that you and I wanted to play the game sounded like it was dead.
Moving in the wrong direction for us is what it felt like.
Yeah. And not like moving, like had moved, was gone, was like, that was it. Like they made an announcement, they made the big thing and they're all thumbs up, and it was, I didn't get it because it was the exact opposite direction. I mean, we wanted it to go in for sure, and definitely like it seemed a little nonsensical. Because I don't know, you could still make that same game. Like you didn't need to cut things from competitive, and I don't know, it was strange. It was very strange. It was a dark time, and then very quickly though, like literally like 2 months later, it had turned course, and there were new people in charge. And they were refocused on PvP and competitive, which is like kind of crazy to think about. Like we just sort of accepted that happened, but like that's like kind of insane. It's like, I don't know, like what would the League of Legends comparison be? Like if they came out, they were just like, we are only focusing on like, was it ARAM? Is that what that like pickup thing is, where you just like don't get to choose your character?
Yeah. They did that in League of Legends.
That's what.
Not on ARAM, but they did that at one point in League of Legends history. Before I played, they were like, we're going to focus on, there's going to be a bunch of different game modes. We're going to do all this like fun stuff, right? There's going to be all these different things. And then like a couple years later, they cut all of it. And they only focus on Summoner's Rift now.
Huh.
So they kind of did the same. Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's good that they're willing to take chances and make mistakes and then like walk them back when they feel like, they have made a mistake or they went a direction they feel like isn't working. But that's how we started last year, which is absurd. And we didn't know if there was going to be a Worlds. We didn't know how to qualify for it for a long time. But I feel like we finished strong. Worlds was amazing.
Worlds was good.
Having everyone together casting it was really cool. I topped my first seasonal. That was dope. And then I topped another one. I qualified for Worlds. Those were like my check marks for my goals for the year. That was nice. It was fun. It was fun to play those. They made the move from like 2 weekends to be like a 1 weekend system.
Oh, thank God.
That was that was nice. The website basically came into its own.
The website was, but yeah, it was created like 2021, but like late 2021, right?
It was October.
Like a pilot.
Yeah, and it was barely even like a functional thing at the time.
Pile of sticks with a tarp on it, kind of. It was like, yeah,
tape.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and now it's like a real thing.
Bubblegum holding it together.
Yep. I was at a family like gathering earlier in the year, and my uncle was like, "Oh yeah, I've been playing Legends of Runeterra," and I was like, "Oh, that's so sick." And he's like, "Yeah, I found this really cool site that has all the decks on it." And I was like, "What's it called?" He's like, "Oh, it's masteringruneterra.com. This site's great." I was like, It's like, do you know? Are you making fun of me here?
Did you wonder if he was trolling you?
He's like, yeah, let me show you.
And was he?
I was like, this is my site.
Someone doesn't watch your streams.
He does. Yeah.
Dude, that's so funny.
But he thought I just like knew of them, right? He thought it was just like a company that. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he tunes in every now and then. He also watched my Worlds run, where I muted an entire game on accident because there's a 15-minute delay, so I couldn't tell that it was muted.
I remember that.
And so he bought me for Christmas. Yeah. I have this like white hockey puck looking thing on my desk, and what it does is when my mic is muted, it just glows red. That's all it does, and it's so nice. And I can like tap it, and if I tap it, it'll mute or unmute my mic. It's actually really sick.
That's nice. That's awesome. I love the visual aid is great because I have like the mic with a little, it's just like a little, it's not even a button. It's like an area that you touch on the top of the mic and it mutes you. And so sometimes I just bump into it. I don't even notice. And then I'm muted and I have no idea until people are like, I'm like, oh, awkward. So yeah, having a nice big are you muted now? Oh, that's your mute button?
That's my mute button, yeah. On the mic.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, having that big indicator is awesome. That's cool that your uncle plays. That's awesome. I've had various friends and family come into the game randomly because they found out that I played it. It's always fun. Yeah, let's talk about your run was crazy. You kept getting what's the word? You had some bad scheduling conflicts. 2 Flesh and Blood Pro Tours on the same weekends, and then also you cast one of them, and then
I played one
in TwitchCon for like the last one.
Yeah, competitively it was weird. So,
and you still top cutted all of them, right? Or except
I think I missed one. I think I missed the one I was casting.
Yeah, you missed one.
I missed the one in Paris when I was in Paris.
You were in France.
Yeah, I missed that one by one round. I was playing at 5:30 a.m. That was brutal loss. But yeah, so competitively I kind of stepped back because they said, hey, we're going to focus on PvE. And I said, well, time to find something else to compete in, because like I love to compete. I love to get better and I love to compete. It's like what I do. And it's what drives me. And so when they said we're going to step back, I was like, okay, I need to find another outlet for this. Because like once every other month seasonals already wasn't enough for me. And then they said we might be scaling back. And so I looked elsewhere and I found Flesh and Blood, and I really, really liked Flesh and Blood. So I started putting more time into that. And then, yeah, every seasonal was on like a Flesh and Blood Pro Tour. I was out of the country or I was in TwitchCon. So there's a great picture of me sitting on the floor of TwitchCon playing top like 8 of seasonals on my phone, where it's like Puffball Panda and like Silverfuse and like a bunch of other people are like sitting around like watching me play on my phone.
BB.
Yeah, very funny. So yeah, competitively, I didn't do very good this year. I mean, I still top cut some seasonals. I still made it to Worlds qualification, which I like almost converted into another top 16. But yeah, I didn't do very good competitively because I didn't put in the time. I didn't try. I put in, enough time to like not embarrass myself, except for like some of the seasonals. Some of the seasonals, I'd literally not played some of the decks I'd registered. Like the one where I played in France comes to mind. I'd played Ezreal Kennen, and then I don't even remember what other 2 decks I played. And yeah, so that was like not great. And then Worlds came. In Worlds, I put a lot of work into Worlds. I tried really hard. I had not prepped that hard for anything, I don't think, ever. And I think it really showed in my gameplay. I think I played really well. I often felt very ahead in matchups just going into games. I felt like I had very good control over what was going on in a macro sense. And I had a good idea of what I need to watch out for and what I need to look for in like a micro sense. and that felt really, really good. And then, yeah, at the end of the day, I hit a bump, just couldn't get there. Got a little unlucky, I think, but it's card games that happens, or you have to get lucky to win. And ended up not making the cut, but I was really proud of my prep. I felt really good about it.
Yeah, and that's all you can do, right? Like you can only do the work, and then like the results are kind of just gonna, fall where they may. And yeah, it feels bad when you go into a tournament. You're like, I didn't do enough. I'm not prepared enough. It's like a really shit feeling. So yeah, doing the work and feeling good about it. Like I know exactly what you mean. And I'm the same, and it's weird. Like we talked about this like last podcast for a little bit before when I was saying how like I kind of want to have a little bit more fun with LoR. Just because like I don't know, the competitive payoff hasn't been there, right? Like we tried at Worlds, and then seasonals have kind of been, it's like you have to come straight first really for it to kind of be worth it at all. And expecting to come first in a 1,000-person tournament more than once in a blue moon is crazy. So it's like where's the carrot? There's not a lot of incentive to play the game a lot or to put a lot of time and effort into it, which used to bug me. It was really upsetting because that's what I wanted. I wanted the big money. I wanted the big payday. I wanted the big like tournaments and all that stuff, like a pro tour. And it just wasn't there. But I've kind of come to peace with it. I was like miserable for a while. I was pretty pissed off. Apologies to anyone that I was toxic to for just being super mad at like the game state. I was just sad about it, depressed about it for a while. It was rough. And I had to like come to terms with it and just be like, this is what it is. I just have to make the best of it. And I think there's still enough there for me at least to be like, to try to be competitive and like enjoy it. But I'm definitely like, it's a lot more about the fun, a lot more about enjoying myself, not taking it so seriously, not getting super burnt out. And that's good. That's good. When you make all your hobbies into your jobs, all you do is work and you just get burnt out. And, this is our job, but it's also still like, why do we come here in the first place? It's like to have fun, right? Because we enjoyed it, because we like playing the game.
What is that saying? It's like,
so have you felt that way? Have you felt like a bit of more of a balance?
Yeah, I have. I'll talk about that in a second. That saying where it's like, do what you love for work and you'll never like work a day in your life or whatever. It's like do your hobby for a job and you'll never stop working. It's like the reality of it, right? It's like if you turn your hobbies into a job, you never stop working.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And well, this is the thing though. If you or I could be paid, hold on, wait. So if you and I could be paid to just practice and play the game, we'd love that, right? Like if we didn't have to stream it even or make YouTube videos, if you could just practice for the tournaments and play in the tournaments and that was it, and you made like, I don't know, 60 to 100K a year, you'd be like, yeah, all right, bet. Like I get to just like play the game a bunch. And you could still do like other stuff. Like, yeah, you probably wouldn't be working too much. You just be having a good time. But that's not the reality of the situation.
Yeah. A big problem that comes up is like with content is what's good for like a good tournament, like meta, is not good for content. Because like a good tournament meta for tournament players is usually something that's like more figured out. It's like a 3-deck format. You have your options, you have your tech cards, and you just really dive deep into these. In a good format for content creators tends to be like really open. You could do a lot of like wacky, wild stuff because no one wants to see me play like the same deck every single day on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. So there would often be like a lot of stress kind of for me because like one side would be heavier than the other, right? So like if it's a really good tournament meta, then I'm stressing about because I'm not making very good content. If I'm making very good content, I'm stressing because I don't know what to do in the tournaments and stuff like that. So what I did at the end of this year, over the last like 4 or 5 months probably, is honestly I just like took my foot off the gas pedal as far as like content. I stream more than I ever have actually, but like YouTube videos, I used to do a YouTube video 7 days a week, and now I make a YouTube video 4 to 5 days a week, and it's less money from that, but it like the amount of stress that is like lifted off my shoulders from not having to put like not holding myself to put out a video every single day is like I can't even begin to describe how much better it feels. Just be like, you know what? I'm having a bad day. I don't feel good, right? Or like, oh, I'm not winning. Nothing's like really coming together. That's fine. We'll get back at it tomorrow. Like just being able to do that really takes a lot of stress off me and reduces the chance of like super bad burnout, which is really important. And that's a philosophy I'm going to carry through to this year and any of my content things beside. But I'm very hopeful for this year, competitive wise. We're going to see what this seasonal's like. This seasonal's another weird timing. It's right in the middle of all the stuff for competitive always seems to come at the same time. So it's like Flesh and Blood competitive and Runeterra competitive. But I'm going to prep pretty hard for the seasonals. I'd like to put up a good finish, start the year off strong, for what might be the last full set before we get rotation for competitive. And yeah, looking forward to the year.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to find out what this year is going to look like. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's really good. It's so funny though. Hey, like I don't know. Last year, I was like, do I dare to dream? Could we possibly see a Path to Pro finally come out? Because they said they were going to do it, and I was just couldn't be more anxious waiting for stuff, and then it was just the biggest punch in the stomach ever. And whereas this year, I'm not holding my breath at all. I'm like, I bet it'll be better here, but we'll see. And yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, if they copy pasted the last 2 years, I guess the last year, and did it again, I'm like, I'd be fine with that. Was not bad last year. We had coverage. I like the shift to the one weekend. Still did Worlds was cool. I prefer to see some improvements here and there, which I'm sure we would. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it, but not. I don't need it. I don't need there to be a bunch of change. Hopefully, nothing gets taken away. That would be nice. We still have all the awesome stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm cautiously optimistic. I have a lot of faith in Ruben. He's shown himself to be very proficient at what he does. And for anyone who doesn't know, he's like one of the best Magic players of all time. He's up there in like the top, like, I don't know, 50, probably 50 players of all time kind of thing. He's got a Pro Tour win, Infinite Pro Tour Grand Prix top 8 stuff. His resume is insane. And then also he just crushes at LoR too. So, he gets it, right? He's one of us. He's a competitive player. And so I got to imagine that a lot of the things that, we would want to see are things he would want to see. And so I'm excited to see what he comes up with. Let's see what else happened last year. Yeah, the website, we were talking about, we've basically become the number one, LOR site out there, whether it be like strategy, stats, what have you. There's just not a lot left. Also, Runeterra CCG is kind of like left the space. Mobalytics has kind of stopped putting out a lot of their stuff. So us getting better, other people leaving the space. That's cool. When I tell other people that have websites and do the same sort of thing, kind of like our growth and how many views we get and how many people come to our website, it blows people away because of how fast it's happened, because we have this amazing community. And I'm looking forward to all the stuff that we get to do in 2023. Random aside, just so everyone knows, Majiinbae and I have not taken a penny out of Mastering Runeterra. It's all just gone back into the community. And we're almost at break even.
We're almost there.
So much money putting on tournaments and paying all the staff and the writers and everyone that we've almost made it to break even. So again, thank you for all the support, you guys. Seriously, you have no idea. But now that we get past break even, that just means we get to do more awesome, cool stuff with the community. We've got a merch line coming out pretty soon, sometime this month, most likely. We'll be doing a bunch of giveaways and stuff, giving away sweaters and t-shirts, and I'm sure you'll see them on a bunch of LOR content creators as we hand them out to some people. A lot of cool stuff from our new social media manager and brand manager, Chaz. who we picked up after Hydra fell apart. So if you're wondering why our tweets are popping off now, that's why. He's our guy. Yeah, I don't know. This year, I'm like cautiously optimistic. Last year, I was like biting at the bit. I was like, this is going to be it. Greatest year ever. And it was. It was a good year. When you look at where we started with the like everything's over, Rome is burning, and then where we ended, we're like, oh, we're like the number one website, and like where everything's crushing, and
everything's fine.
Now we're getting rotation, and like who knows what other kind of cool stuff. Yeah, can't complain. It's I think we're gonna look back on 2022 as like a real pivotal like turning point, hopefully in the game.
Yeah, I also
it's
little bit different, but I think in 2022, especially the early part, hitched too much of my success to Runeterra, not like in actuality, but in my head. Like in my head, I was like, if Runeterra isn't a competitive game, if there's not all these tournaments and stuff, I lose. Like I can't make content, I can't do anything. All this falls apart. I'm screwed. And so like it was so stressful for me. And I think like a couple months in, I kind of realized that like that's not the case. I was like, oh no, like even if it's I can do my own thing. Like I could make more fun content. I can make content outside of Runeterra. I was like, oh, this is not the be all end all for me. Like if Runeterra gets rid of seasonals, I don't like stop being a streamer, right? Like and that sounds so stupid, but it was like that was a pretty big deal for me to realize that.
Yeah. Dude, I remember I had to like talk you off the ledge. You were like, "No, it's over. You get a day job. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's all over. I don't know." Yeah, you were in a bad way. And I thought along the same lines. Frankly, I thought the game was just gonna go under. Really, if they just cut competitive completely, because like there wasn't a lot there to begin with. And then especially from a content creator standpoint, it's like, what are you gonna do? Play Path all day? Make content about that and hope people want to watch you play against a computer? Maybe they would, but it doesn't sound very likely. Want to do that. Yeah. Also, that's the other problem. Yeah, it has to be content that you actually want to be making. Yeah, that was a bad time. That was a really bad time. I remember when I was writing about it, and I was like going through like a crisis basically, and I just eventually was like, you know what? This is so nonsensical. This direction just makes so little sense to me that like something eventually is going to change. I think someone eventually, like the numbers will keep dropping or something until someone at Riot is like, okay, something's wrong here. Like we need to make some changes. And it did not take very long, thankfully. So yeah, something to be like kind of grateful for, really. Like I am. Like imagine if it just didn't happen. Imagine if they just continued on that way and it was just a Path of Champions game, no seasonals and stuff. Or like they did this Worlds like they said they would, and then that was it. We're just done. Just Path now. I can't even imagine. That's like we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this podcast. Mastering Runeterra wouldn't exist. The community wouldn't be together. All the awesome people that we know and love and speak to every day. Like it's so it's weird the things that we're grateful for, appreciate. I'm definitely very thankful that that's not the case and that we are where we are now, that we keep getting to do all this awesome stuff around this game that we love so much. Yeah, that's pretty dope. Okay, well, you got anything else? Should we wrap it up here?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone back to 2023. Like I said, next week I think we have Ruben on the podcast. He's gonna be talking to you. We'll be diving into the meta a lot more. We might even have some more announcements, maybe some merch, maybe some tournaments, maybe some other stuff. Anyway, long story short, making sure you tune in and looking forward to hitting our 100th podcast and our 2-year anniversary and all that awesome stuff with you guys later on this year. Well, that's it for us. Take care. Have a good night. Peace.